dog back, and we're here at the space station. We got up here in our last episode, took a look around, saw some of the ships that are coming in, learned how to scan ships, and then we started to learn about upgrading our ship. We changed our appearance at the appearance modifier, and we began by running down this row of merchants. And the first three of the first two would not talk to us. The third one gave us the next step in our main storyline, which is to go to our base and talk to the base computer. We also bought an extra storage slot and learned that we can buy slots for our tech and for our inventory suit, as well as purchase additional storage slots for our starship. So we went to this little booth, and now it has an icon above it. Exo Suit Inventory Upgrade Terminal. Now, we went to the little booth and we bought a inventory cargo slot. Let's go to the little booth again. Maybe now it will give us another slot for free. So we go to the little booth, and yes, we can. Only this next slot is 5,000 for inventory, and it is still 1,000 for tech. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a tech slot, and we're going to run down Merchant's Row here, and we're going to reacquaint ourselves. Again, this is our Exo Suit Merchant, and we're an interloper, but he'll do business with us. And here we can buy and sell mods for our Exosuit. And we'll just run down the list really quickly so as not to overwhelm you. We have different classes of mods. We have C class, B class, which is next up, A class, which is next up, and then S class, which is our current top available mod. We have life support, movement, which controls our jetpack and our sprint. We have shield modules, underwater modules, radiation protection, toxic protection, thermal protection from cold, thermal protection from heat. And all of these come in the different classes, and you can purchase them for nanites. You can see the red ones are ones we cannot afford. And then under buy, you can sell. Now, you can only buy Exosuit mods from this first vendor, but you can sell him any mods you have. Now, I just happen to have one mod on my ship that I do not need right now. So I'm going to sell that to this vendor. So I'm going to go into the menu. Technology Merchant Yablung offers installable exosuit upgrades in exchange for nanite clusters. So we're going to go to purchase upgrades. I'm going to highlight sell, press X. Then up here we see sellable items, inventory empty, but we have several inventories. We have our Exosuit inventory, and we can switch with square to our Starship inventory. That pulls up the upgrade that we have. We're going to go ahead and sell that for 60 nanites. As you can see, just clicking square upgrade switches between these two inventories. Our next merchant is Exocraft upgrades. Again, these are vehicles to roam about the planet's surface, various types of vehicles. We have various upgrades for them. Our third is Starship Modules. Now those we might like. So let's see what we have. We have a launch thruster module. This will improve our launch efficiency and launch speed. We have pulse engine, hyperdrive, shield, photon cannon, phase beam, positron ejector, infraknife, cyclotron ballista, positron ejector, phase beam. Now those are all weapons. Another launch thruster module, another one, and another positron module. So launch fuel takes a lot of our resources. We have to craft this quite often, and without any modifications, we use quite a bit of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy a launch thruster module. I want a good one, and since I can afford it, I'm going to go ahead and buy this A-class module. As you can see, he has no gold, no S-class ones. So we'll buy that. And then we open our Exosuit inventory, and there is the launch thruster module we just bought. You see, we have several options. We can install it, we can transfer it, or we can move it. Well, we want to install it, so we're going to press square. That will immediately take us to our Starship menu, and the mod will be open. And we're going to place it in our technical slot. Now, a quick word about mod placement. If I place the mod just anywhere, it's going to give me a minus 18% on my fuel cost for taking off, and it's going to boost my takeoff speed and my boost speed by 6%. Now that's if I just place it in any random slot, say in this corner here. But if I place it adjacent, let me move this over, to my launch thruster, that is directly below it, directly to the side of it, or directly above it, both my launch thruster and now the mod have this same light blue border box highlighting them. You'll see that? Move it over. There's no highlight. But when I put them adjacent to each other, that gives that highlight around each of the mods. That's called an adjacency bonus. So what that's going to do is going to increase the effectiveness of this mod a small percentage. Now, there are a lot of guys out there. They are going to be able to tell you off the top of their heads what percentage. I can't. I don't know. Suffice it to say, it's a small percentage, but it is enough to make a difference. Okay? So you always want to place your mods, whether it be your Exosuit, your Starship, your Multitool, or later on down the road, your Freighter. Your mods you want to make sure are adjacent to each other. So I'll show you real quick with a Exosuit mod. I think we can afford it like a B class. So I'll come over here to the Exosuit Mod manufacturer, merchant, purchase an upgrade, and let's see what we can get. All right, so let's purchase an upgrade to our jetpack and our sprint. Okay? So we're going to open our Exosuit inventory. We highlight the mod, press install, and we pop it into a slot. Now you can see that it gives us a 100% increase in our jetpack tanks. It increases the recharge rate of our jetpacks by 2%, and it increases our sprint recovery time by 6%. Now, there's no adjacency bonus, but if I move, say, my hazard protection over, then move the mod next to my jetpack, and there we have the highlighted boxes, in this case yellow, which adds a slight percentage to these upgrade numbers. So again, regardless whether it's your suit or your Starship, go ahead and work that adjacency bonus. And we'll get back into some of the things that adjacency bonuses do later on. All right? So once again, suit, Exocraft, Starship, and our next little merchant and final one in the line is our Multitool merchant. Now, he's got a couple things that the others don't have. First thing he has is a cabinet that allows you to purchase the multi-tool available in the station. Now, this is not the best multi-tool in the system, and we'll get into finding those later on. But for our purposes right now, this is the multi-tool available for this system. And we activate it, and we see that it is a B-class multi-tool. There's its name, its damage potential, and its scanner range. And we can see that it has an analysis visor, a scanner, a mining beam, a bulk caster, a combat scope, and an enhanced outlet coupler, which is an upgrade for the mining beam. And down here we have decline or compare. You can have 6 multi-tools. That is up to you. One will often suffice. If you get a good enough multi-tool, say an S-class, with decent scanner range, decent damage potential, you can upgrade it to enough slots to fit all of the tools that you yourself will prefer and use, or you can have a different multi-tool for every function. You can have one for combat, one to scan, one to mine with, or two of each. It's totally up to you. Like I said, 6 multi-tools are what you're able to have. So let's compare. We can buy it for $4,200,000, or we can exchange it for $4,064,000. Not a lot of difference. I do, however, want to get the multi-tool. As you can see up top, it has a better damage potential, a better scan range, it's a better class multi-tool, and it has not only way more slots, it also has 2 supercharged slots. That means that the technology that I put in the supercharged slots are going to have a slightly higher percentage or a slightly higher number than they would if they were in a not supercharged slot. Now, we don't have any on our Starship or our Exosuit. We haven't opened any of the supercharged slots. And we haven't opened any for our multi-tool. So we can't really make comparisons right now. And since I only have 20,000, it's going to be a minute before I can afford this. But I will strive to come back for it. Here we have a multi-tool upgrade station. Now this works in the same way as the upgrade station for the ships. You can install a slot with an expansion slot. You can purchase a new slot, or you can upgrade the class. And the merchant has multi-tool modules and upgrades for sale. We'll just take a quick look. Mining beam, scanner module, bolt caster, plasma launcher, weapons of all sorts. Now, in bumbling around the space station, there is one thing I want to bring up, which is, again, if you see an interaction, interact with it. And you want to look for some of these. This black disc here, for instance. Let me switch to first-person view, turn on my little flashlight so we get a good look. That little disc right there. Go ahead and interact with that. And that gave us 13 nanites. On some of the tables, encrypted nav data. Interact with it. That gave us 11 nanites. So go around, look at the tables, look at the counters. Anytime you see a little glowing cube or a little black disc and you get that highlight, go ahead and interact with it. There will be several around the station. Now this gentleman who's out here standing on his own is what's called a scrap dealer. So let's talk to him. Ah, he speaks our language. Gra, another inspection. Is Viking honor not enough? The Viking stiffens as I approach. Although they do their best to hide it, they are nervous and on their guard. And they have some sort of coordinates for 5 million units. Ask what they are selling. Pathetic freighter go missing. Weak scavenger pick through the wreckage like feasting birds. Gra. Honorable Viking warrior would never indulge in salvage. But if interloper is interested, Viking may have information. And he awaits my decision. And it says, purchase old scrap. And this is what he is selling. Repair kits, suspicious packets, banners, and all sorts of manner of stuff, including an X-class module, which may or may not be higher than an S-class. It's a black market modification, is how they'll be put. But he's selling them for something called tainted metal. Tainted metal is something you can acquire. There's different ways of getting it. The primary way is exploring an abandoned freighter, or a wrecked freighter, a derelict freighter they're called. And that's where you acquire tainted metal, and that is where you can purchase these items. Now you're going to see some of the items are for sale for tainted metal. Some of them say available. Now, because I have bought these items on my primary save, and any purchased item is available cross-save and can be claimed on all of your saves. So on my main save, I bought this hazard decal. Well, I don't have any tainted metal, but it's available to me because I've already bought it. So I'm going to run through real quick and pick up all of these available items. Primarily, they're base items.
Collectible received. Collectible received.
Decals, etc. So these aren't anything that's going to help me. They're just visual aids, or visual cosmetic, I'm sorry. Cosmetic is what they are. All right, so that's the right-hand side of the station as you're looking towards the door. There's a B-class shuttle, 31 cargo, 18 tech. So let's go to the left side of the station. Now on the left side of the station, you're going to meet all of the different NPCs that are in the station. So we have Viking. Here we have a Gek. Next to him is a Korvax. Because it's a Viking station, there will be more Viking than anyone else. There's another Korvax. So really quickly, a quick introduction would be Viking are the warriors, the fighters of the galaxy. The little Gek dudes are the merchants, the traders. And the Korvax, the electronic life form, are the scientists and explorers. And so what you want to do while you're up here, it's part of the grind. You want to talk to as many as these individuals as possible. So you go up to the individual, they'll say something, most of which you won't understand, and then you'll get a prompt. And in this case, the warrior keeps looking at my multi-tool. They appear envious of its technology. You can request dialect help, practice the language skills you've already learned, offer them a gift, or leave. For the first few times, you want to pick request dialect help. And what they'll do is they'll give you a list of symbols, and you go ahead and pick one of them, and that will give you a newly translated word. So like Viking symbol. And he teaches me a word of their language. And I have learned the word for warrior. And then we go to the next one. Again, we understand two words, interloper and Viking. Those are highlighted in red. The life form gestures at me as I approach. They draw attention to their weapon, an impressive sidearm. Is this a threat, an attempt to intimidate, a boast, a friendly display in good faith? Their culture remains so unknown. Well, I've picked up a couple of words. Let's practice language skills. Conscript Axe falls respectfully silent, curious to hear my pronunciation of their guttural language. I recall some of the Viking words I have learned. So far, 1, interloping. He barks out a stream of Viking language in response, seeming agitated by my choice of word. So basically, he didn't like that. Let's talk to the Gek. Again, a language, a prompt. We have 2 prompts with him. We offer gift, a Gek relic, and request dialect help. So let's go with dialect help first. And let's go with Gek symbol. And he teaches us the word for Gek. Now we have these little Gek relics. Metal statuette with a coin placed in its beak. Popular with many traders who see it as an emblem of fair commerce and peace. And we have the opportunity to gift him one. So let's go ahead and gift him one. And that increases our standing with the Gek. Then the Korvax. We'll request dialect help. And he teaches me their word for themselves, the Korvax. And from here on out, it is rinse and repeat. And your best bet is to get a few words we'll learn some Viking words. And then we'll go and we'll practice our language skills on one of them. So practice language skills. And we'll pick a couple of words that we've learned. So let's pick help. Engineer Partagnik responds awkwardly to this, as though I have said something slightly inappropriate. However, in what seems a genuine act of kindness, they hand me a small gift. And I got a Starship launch fuel. Thank you, sir. So if you go around and you learn words and then go around and practice your dialogue, you have a chance at getting objects and upgrades, units, or nanites. So over here, there's a couple more items I want to look at first. It's the Galactic Trade Terminal, and this is where you buy and sell. And if you'll look, there are percentages underneath each one. And these come into play when you're doing the market within a system. So say you buy the decommissioned circuits here at 12% 0.2 below cost, and then you can take them to another system and sell them at, say, above 3.1 cost. And there you make your money. I've never played the market economy, as it were. I know Elite Dangerous is really big about that. And when Elite Dangerous players come into No Man's Sky, they tend to play the market economy, make their money, and then they miss quite a bit of the game. So what we want to focus on, not the market economy right now, but the goods that you can buy, which, as you can see, range from market goods to resources, equipment, and other items. And then there's a sell menu where various items can be sold, both your Exosuit and your Starship. Now, right now, I'm not going to sell anything because everything I have right now is actually needed. Okay? Let's take a quick run down the next 3 merchant stalls that are on this left-hand side. The first one is a mission specialist. Now, later on, as you progress farther into the main storyline, you'll be able to come here, take small side missions for rewards. The next one is the race envoy. He's the ambassador for this station. And this one is a member of the Explorers Guild. However, he won't talk to me. He refers me to the mission agent. 2 tells me there's no work. It's a lot like the post office or unemployment line. Now, there's our teleporter. You see it's got our little mission marker on it. And that'll take us back to our base instead of flying back to the base. But before we go, there's a couple more things to look over. This gentleman here is the Cartographer. And he sells maps. And we can ask for help, exchange specific charts, or purchase a random map for 15 nanites. So the first thing we're going to do is ask for help. They point at a map on their screen, then towards a depiction of the waypoint towers I have found at most planetary sites. They seem to be requesting I gather data from these towers. And that's the navigation data that we have been picking up as we go. These right here. And those are off those little white spinny towers and certain objects that we interact with. So going back in, I'm going to purchase a random map for 15 nanites. And that gives me a planetary chart. In this case, a map of a nearby planet, an ancient alien or an ancient artifact site has been marked. So I use the map to plot the route, and then I can follow it. So plot route. And alien artifact detected. So if I look outside the space station, there'll be a mark. And it's right there. Ancient ruin on a planet. And I can hold to tag it. We'll come back to that, because there's one more column here to look at, and that is exchange specific charts. This is the column. So we have planetary chart that marks a secure site. We have a chart that marks coordinates of a distress signal, one for an inhabited outpost, one for ancient artifacts that we just used, one for settlements, and one for exosuit upgrades. And we can exchange navigation data for any of these. So let's pick exosuit upgrades. And we exchanged our navigation data for this exosuit upgrade. And that's called a drop pod. And what that will do is we will go to this drop pod, repair it, and then it will give us a free exosuit upgrade. So let's go ahead and plot the route to that as well. As we can see, there's our ancient ruin. There's a cargo drop here. And our drop pod is right there. So So it'll be on the same planet as our ancient ruin. Now before we go back to our base and before we continue on to ancient ruins and drop pods, because we really want a new ship, maybe a nice explorer, kind of like that yellow one. But before we leave, we're going to take a quick look around. And on each side of the space station, both on the merchant side to the right and on the NPC side to the left, there are 2 doors. So let's take the NPC side first. And see what we can interact with. Okay, a plant. 3 interactions. That gave us 45 carbon total. We have a nice window view where we can see both where our drop pod and our ancient ruin. And let's pick up 78 nanites. Nice. Alright, that takes care of this little doorway on the NPC side. As you can see, straight across there is the doorway on the merchant side. So let's go over there. Pardon me, use your ship. Did we get that? Yes, we did. Is there one over here? No, there isn't. Go in this door. And oh, we have more NPCs. And more things to react with. Another store. And a nice long hallway. So let's just go around the room. Is it really you? Forgive me, I've been searching for such a long time. I am contracted to aid you in this and every cycle. Don't worry, everything was paid for a long time ago. It's all quite above board. Well, I've never seen you before in my life. As the stranger speaks, a smell assaults me, a pheromone infesting my brain, giving me memories of places I never visited, of actions I never took, of myself in a mirror, aged and alone, of this get cradling their fallen brethren, of a bargain made many years from now, a contract signed across the cosmos. The vision ends, and the overseer remains. The overseer promises to extend my base, allowing me to recruit other workers. They require a construction terminal to get started. I can't hire them, so I will decline the offer. I do not feel comfortable hiring this Gek. So in this room, you're gonna find NPCs to be hired for your base. You simply have to have the terminals available to hire them. Right now, I am not far enough along to hire any of them. The downbeat life form is studying the image of another young warrior on their pad. The pictured warrior looks virile and impressive. They have facial tendrils that are outstretched. They appear rich and of good breeding stock. The look in their eyes is sultry. Ooh. Gra, warrior. Blah, 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 blah. The life form looks at me with questioning eyes. They clearly need someone to talk this through with. And they're giving us several options. We can advise them to accept, we can advise them to refuse, and we can accept on their behalf. Now, if you choose one option, you might insult this alien. If you choose another option, you might come out with a gift. If you choose another option, you may come out with nothing. So kind of read through carefully what they're telling you and then go with what seems like the best option. I think in this case that's going to be advise acceptance. And in this case, that was the good answer. The young warrior nods. They relay a message of acceptance. Speakers throughout the facility play orchestral music. The life form shares some of the dowry they received. So, yeah, I just got you engaged. Thank you. And they shared with us, and it increased our standing with the Viking. Neato. Back here we have some nanites to make. Oh, another milestone. Should look to see what that one was. We have another Galactic trade terminal. I've never really understood why there were two. We have some plants to search, get the carbon from. Plants used to be searched once. Lately, for some reason, I've gotten 3 prompts. I don't know if this is a glitch, but it's 3 times the carbon. And down this little hallway, we have another door. But again, we need an Atlas pass. 3rd version this time. Man, we got to get one of them. All right. And then there's one other thing to show you before we leave. And that is each of these folks flying these ships, each of these NPCs. You can do several options with each NPC. You can trade with them. Just like any merchant, they have items for sale or will buy items. If you trade with the NPCs, the pilots of the spaceships, you will not crash the system economy. If you come into this system with high goods and go to the market on the wall and sell millions of dollars, you will crash the system economy. Suddenly you won't make any money in this system. So if you're going to trade millions of units at a time, trade them with these guys. you'll get the market up, but you won't crash the market, okay? Our second offer with them, make an offer on the Lifeform Starship. So you can see it's a C-class fighter, and under negotiate price, we can either buy it outright or we can exchange it. Not really getting much of anything out of that exchange, so we don't have the money to buy it outright. And then our final option with the pilots is to recruit to our squadron. Right now we don't own a freighter, so we don't have a squadron to recruit to. That's primarily our tour of the space station. We will come back here often. We will try to buy a ship here. For right now, we're going to take the teleporter home to our base because something has been left there for us. So we have our bases, our space stations. We're just going to pull up your bases, or all. In this case, there's only the one. Highlight it. Now that's going to give us a couple of things. It's going to tell us whose base it is, the type of planet it's on. See, now that it says Paradise Planet again. That is strange because it keeps changing. The type of weather and when it was last edited. So we highlight warp to base. In the old days, the warp screen, now this is a loading screen. In the old days, it took a long time. It was a bright yellowish white that was purely eye bleeding, and it had the most god-awful ear-busting noise. Several updates ago, HG fixed that. They gave us a more muted noise and a less bright and more colorful warp screen. Thank you, HG. Every time I see it, though, I do expect the TARDIS from Doctor Who to come flying out. So, back at our base, and there's our teleporter. So now if we go up to our teleporter, we can easily see we can now transport just right back to the space station. And we're back. So this is basically your own personal little Stargate. It's going to save you time, and it's going to save you liftoff fuel in the long run. So we're going to go to our base computer. Archives terminated. Select new task. Begin decryption. Decoding. 16, 16, 16. Message follows. The traveler finds their wings. Fly to us and claim your place among the stars. Signal acquired. Life signs detected. And it says reach the decoded coordinates. And that is 22 minutes from here. Oh, look at this, you guys. Well, let's get our plane, our Starship, out of the building. Well, that's a terrible landing job. I need to speak to the valet. So we're going to go down on our D-pad, take one left to summon vehicles, one up, and summon our Radiant Pillar Starship. Watch out for the birds in the engine. All right. And we're going to stop here. Thanks, folks, for stopping in. And we'll pick up in our next episode. Everybody, have a great, great day.